I just point to the logo on my chest and tell them, Slam the ego, Slam the ego, Slam the ego, Slam the ay. Hit it up hard, hit it with a strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the night. I'm in Slam the ego, Slam the ego, Slam the ego, Slam the ay. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. You should know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 311 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden here. Almost to the new year. We got some Padres stuff to talk about today. Dennis Lin came out with an article, and there's a new report out from him about the Padres being open to trading Trent Grisham or Ha-Seong Kim. There's also some news about one guy that they're not going to trade. So I will also be talking about that, or one guy they're not looking to trade, and I will get to that. So stay tuned for that. But thank you for joining here. So let's get started. So Dennis Lin, this was earlier today in The Athletic. Sources have indicated San Diego is open to discussing Grisham and Ha-Seong Kim. Trent Grisham in particular is what Lin said. Grisham in particular in trade talks. So Kim and Grisham, they're open to discussing both of them. Now, does it make sense? I'll just ask this question right now. Does it make sense for the Padres to trade Trent Grisham or Ha-Seong Kim? I don't think it makes as much sense to trade Grisham as it does Kim. Ha-Seong Kim, yeah, he's the starting second baseman right now, but you could move Cronenworth over to second. You could have Matt Carpenter play first base. You could find another DH and not have it be Matt Carpenter. I know that's a risk, but you could do that. But with Trent Grisham, you're already lacking in outfield depth already. So it doesn't make sense for me, at least if I was AJ Preller, to be saying, yeah, let's go trade Trent Grisham. And now we have Jose Azocar as our starting center fielder. Oh, and we don't even have a left fielder right now. Like, they just don't have the depth there. Now, I'd be open to trading Trent Grisham and be willing to trade him if the Padres then go get a very serviceable center fielder. If they're willing to go get Brian Reynolds and give up what the Pirates want, which is like this Juan Soto trade package, if they're willing to do that and they have a replacement for Trent Grisham, okay, yeah, then that's fine. You can trade Grisham because you have a plan. But if we're just looking at the roster right now, and we know that the Padres, they want starting pitching, probably in a trade. So it's not like they're trading Kim or they're trading Grisham and they're going to get back another infielder to replace that. You could do that in free agency. You could go get another, multiple outfielders, a left fielder, a center fielder. You could do that in free agency after trading trading Grisham. But right now, if you're going to trade Grisham for starting pitching, what is your outfield? Tatis comes back April 20th. You still have to get through that. And it's not like Tatis is this guarantee to stay healthy all year, right? He's not. So you can't count on him staying healthy either. And are you going to throw him into center field? Maybe that works. But who's going to be playing left field? Are you bringing in Profar to do that? Are you going to bring in David Peralta? Are you making a trade for that? Like, what's the plan there? So AJ Preller, he told Ken Rosenthal, I think last week, that they're trying to add to this roster, right? They like this roster. That's pretty much what he said. And I agree. I think they should be adding. They shouldn't be adding and subtracting, through trades. Like, if you have to get a starting pitcher and you trade Ha-Seong Kim, okay, I understand that. Now, the starting pitcher better be controllable, better have multiple years of control, because there are guys, multiple pitchers, almost the whole rotation could leave the Padres after 2023. And I don't think that's going to happen, but they are free. They could be free agents after this coming season. So if you're going to trade for starting pitching, I'd rather trade Kim than Grisham right now. If they make a move that adds an outfielder, okay, then it makes more sense to trade Trent. I don't think they should trade either unless you're getting like a Corbin Burns or a Brandon Woodruff, someone higher than Pablo Lopez, which leads me into the next point here, or the next talking point. The Marlins are one team, according to Dennis Lin, that could make sense as a trade partner. The Padres have expressed interest in Pablo Lopez. Now, is Pablo Lopez a fit for the Padres? Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good fit. He is 26 years old, so he's in his prime. He reached 180 innings this past season. He had a 2.86 ERA before the All-Star break, finished with an ERA under 4. And Darvish, Snell, Lugo, Martinez, they could all be free agents after this season. They could all leave after this season. So that leaves Joe Musgrove in the rotation as your only long-term guy. And Lopez, he has 2 more years of control. So that fits what the Padres want, right? A controllable starting pitcher, probably want a younger one, not someone that's, 35. That fits. Lopez, he's 26. And it seems like he's only getting better. So that fits, but is a Pablo Lopez trade likely if it's just a 2-team deal, Padres and Marlins? I don't think it's likely. Because look at what the Marlins want. According to Craig Mish, he is a Marlins beat reporter, he said today, the Marlins are, quote, adamant on acquiring a major upgrade to the 2023 lineup, end quote. Again, according to Craig Mish, who's a reporter for them, in Miami. So, if the Padres are open to trading Kim or Grisham, let's say it's in a Lopez deal, that doesn't make sense for the Marlins. Because they just signed Gene Segura, who's going to play third, and then they have Miguel Rojas at second base. They have Jazz Chisholm at shortstop. Doesn't make a ton of sense for them to add Kim. Grisham, maybe it makes sense for the outfield, but if they're looking for a major upgrade to their 2023 lineup, Ha-Seong Kim is not a major upgrade to the 2023 lineup. You've seen talks about the Padres putting Carpenter at first base when there's a tough righty on the mound just because Kim struggles against righties. So I think if the Marlins want a major upgrade, I think it's someone that they want in the lineup every day. And someone that will hit 20-plus home runs, right? I think that's more of a major upgrade in the lineup than what Ha-Seong Kim would give you. And then Trent Grisham, I think there's still potential there. I still believe in him. I don't think the Padres should trade him unless it's for, controllable starting pitching and they have a plan to replace him with someone who is better than him. He hit 17 home runs this past season, but he hit 184. The Padres would be selling low, but if you're looking at this from the Marlins' point of view, Grisham, Kim, are those major upgrades, which is what they're looking for? They're adamant on acquiring a major upgrade to the lineup if they're going to trade a starting pitcher. Grisham and Kim don't fit that. So I don't see the Padres and Marlins, just a 2-team deal, I don't see them matching up on a trade. Now, could the Padres trade another bat that would appeal to the Marlins more? Yeah, sure. But it's not like the Padres are looking to get starting pitching and willing to make their offense significantly worse by giving the Marlins what they want, a major upgrade to the lineup. The Padres are trying to go all in. They're trying to add to their lineup, their offense, and they have this winter. They're getting Tatis back on April 20th, hopefully, and that's 40-plus home runs. They're getting Xander Bogaerts, right? That's an improvement to their offense. They're getting Juan Soto, hopefully a better Juan Soto. So let's say they trade. Who would be that better bat other than Kim and Grisham, because those aren't major upgrades to a Marlins lineup? Who are the other bats in the Padres order that the Padres would be willing to deal that wouldn't make the Padres offense worse? Soto, they're not trading. Manny, they're not trading. Tatis, they're not trading. Bogarts, they're not trading. Cronenworth, they're not trading. Nola's not a major upgrade to the Marlins lineup, or he wouldn't be. Campusano wouldn't be a major upgrade, right? Dennis Lin was saying in The Athletic today that there isn't as much interest in Campusano. There hasn't been much interest in these last few years for him on the trade market. So they're not going to trade Matt Carpenter, right? They just signed him. So find that guy that would be a major upgrade to the Marlins lineup that would make the Padres a fit in a deal. Now, they could trade Grisham to Miami, and then the Marlins go get another bat somewhere else, or it's a 3-team trade. But if it's just direct, 2-team Padres Marlins, Padres want starting pitching, okay. But the Marlins want a major upgrade to their lineup. The Padres aren't going to give that to them. Like Kim and Grisham, those aren't major upgrades. So I just don't see this being a fit for the Padres. And as I said, Trent Grisham, it does not make sense to trade him right now because what depth do the Padres have in their outfield? It's Soto in right. It's Grisham in center. This is opening day. And in left, who is it? David Dahl? Azokar and Brandon Dixon on the bench? We're good with that? I'm not. I think they need to add, not be subtracting. So if they go get like Brian Reynolds and then they trade Grish, yeah, okay, of course I'm fine with that. But I believe in Grish, and the depth is just not there to trade Trent Grisham. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Kim, it makes more sense because they do have a lot of middle infield options. They can go get other bats that can play first or can be the DH if you put Matt Carpenter at first base and you put Crony at second and you have Bogarts play short still. So that makes more sense. You still have Tatis in the outfield. But the outfield depth concerns me, especially if they trade Trent Grisham. You know that he's going to play pretty much every day. This guy stays healthy, right? You know the glove's going to be there. And on offense, it can't get worse than it did in 2022, right? It can't. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me see what you guys are thinking here in the chat. David says, I would not mind seeing Grish go. I can't see Kim going unless it's a big return. See, I disagree, as you've probably already heard. You put this in like 10 minutes ago, David. So I'd rather... I don't want to make this seem like I want to trade Ha-Seong Kim. I think he's a valuable piece to this Padres team. But if you're saying you have to trade Kim or Grisham with the current roster construction, I'll trade Ha-Seong Kim over Grisham. I think Grisham has higher offensive potential than Ha-Seong Kim does. And again, the roster construction, the outfield depth, where is it? It's not strong. And I understand fans saying, I wouldn't mind seeing Grish go because they saw this past season he sucked on offense for the regular season, didn't do anything in the NLCS offensively. Like, I understand that viewpoint. And David doesn't see Kim going unless it's a big return. I guess I understand that viewpoint as well because we see him as the starting second baseman right now on opening day, someone that can play shortstop, can play multiple positions. But the Padres, if they're dealing the middle infield, they have depth in the middle infield. They don't have depth in the outfield or as much depth, or definitely not as strong depth, if that makes sense, in the outfield as they do in the middle infield. Um, 619 says, sign Bauer. Padres fans need to stop crying. All right. Well, I don't even think that's worth like going on another rant on. Like, people already know my thoughts on that. The Padres are not signing Trevor Bauer. Okay. If they sign Trevor Bauer, one, I think it would be a bad look on the franchise. And two, okay, I'll admit I was wrong. I'll make I was wrong the title of one of the episodes, after they get him. Okay. It's not happening. I was listening to Darren Smith the other day, and I think he was talking with someone familiar with the Padres thinking, like ownership. And he said it's not going to happen. They're not signing Trevor Bauer. And so Darren was saying, like, yeah, I'm thankful that we have ownership that, won't do that. Because there are teams we've seen in sports with Deshaun Watson and the Browns, right? They give him the biggest guaranteed contract, right? Something like that in NFL history after what he did and all the the sexual assault cases that he went through and all that. They're try teams are trying to win. If this player, if Trevor Bauer can help you win, there are going to be teams out there that are going to be interested in signing him. Now, does the owner give the okay? That's I don't know. But there are GMs, probably front office people out there that are like, I don't care what he did. He didn't get charged. He served a suspension. Um, this guy can help our team win. And their job is to look at it from an unemotional standpoint, right? Just get the best players, get the best roster. But owners, you kind of have to look at the whole thing, right? And the Padres, yeah, do they need starting pitching or another starter? I think they do, but you can go get Johnny Cueto. You can go trade for another starter. There's so many other options out there that wouldn't be as big of a headache or wouldn't be a headache at all, maybe, as Trevor Bauer. Irie says the only way I see them getting rid of Trent is if AJ has a super plan for Reynolds. So I think Kim is the more likely trade target to acquire a pitcher gap wise. Yeah, I think, look, yeah, I agree. Kim is the more likely trade target based on the roster construction, like I've said already. If they do trade Trent, I think the Padres better have a plan. I'm not saying it has to be Brian Reynolds. You'd be giving up Jackson Merrill and more for that. But you better have a plan to go replace Trent Grisham with someone who is solid defensively, not someone that has to be as good as Trent defensively, because there aren't a lot of center fielders in baseball that are as good defensively as Trent is. That's just the facts. But you better have a plan. You can't just go trade Trent and be like, oh, okay, well, let's put a Zokar in center field. Do you really want that? I don't think Padres fans want to see that. All right, I'll keep going through the chat here, and I will get to one player that the Padres are not looking to trade. That is coming up, but first, this episode is sponsored by Gaglione Bros Famous Cheesesteaks and Garlic Fries. Their main location is on Friars Road, and you can visit gaglionebros.com for their menu and contact information. You can also enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and inside Snapdragon Stadium. All right, so Dennis Lin in The Athletic earlier today, later in the article, the report that he put out after the Grisham and Kim stuff, he said that San Diego is not looking to trade Jake Cronenworth. So that's going to be good news. That's good news for me, although it's not like stunning news. It's going to be good news for a lot of Padres fans that love Jake Cronenworth. And my reaction to that is, yeah, no duh. Yeah, that's, of course, why would they be looking to trade Jake Cronenworth? Back-to-back All-Star, a guy that plays every day, was clutch in the postseason during that NLDS, plays almost like every position, so versatile, so valuable. He's one of the leaders in the clubhouse. He still has like 3 years of control, I want to say. No, you don't trade him. You're trying to go all in right now? Yeah, let's just trade our starting first baseman for opening day. Let's just trade a guy that's been an all-star these last 2 years, the guy that pretty much won game 2. I know everyone looks at Robert Suarez, but he played a part in like every run in that game, it felt like. Had the big insurance home run, obviously, and then the hit in game 4, obviously. Like, no, why would you trade him? You're getting worse by trading Jake Cronenworth. Even if you go get a controllable starting pitcher, is that guy better than having Jake Cronenworth in there? Is that guy going to provide more value than Jake, who plays every day? This isn't a guy where it's like, oh, hopefully Jake Cronenworth stays healthy this year. He's like Manny. It's like, no, I'd be shocked if he misses, 30 games in a season. Like, he's not going to. I mean, just look at the stats, too. People that were willing to trade Jake Cronenworth for Juan Soto before this past trade deadline, this past season, I thought they were nuts. You're trying to get better, right? You're trying to go all in. Jake Cronenworth is like part of that core that you're building around. Some people were trying to say, "Oh, we'll trade Cronenworth if they want Cronenworth, throw him in there. We're getting Juan Soto." No, 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 no. That's not what this is. You're adding Soto to Cronenworth, Manny, Tatis is that's at least what we thought. But this year, Soto to Cronenworth, Manny, Tatis, Bogarts, right? That's what you're adding it to. Like Jake is a part of that core. He's one of the leaders in the clubhouse now. It just doesn't make sense to trade him. This past year had a F4 over 4, and in 2021 he had another season with an F4 over 4. Yeah, he's not like this big power guy, and some fans might say, "Well, he's not, your typical power first baseman," but you don't need him to. Newsflash. How about just be a line drive hitter? That's who Jake Cronenworth is. He'll hit home runs, but get on base, driving runs with singles to center like he did against the Dodgers in the NLDS. Play great defense, be versatile, be a leader. Like that's what he is. We don't need Jake to be this big power guy. We got Xander Bogaerts. We got Juan Soto. We have Fernando Tatis Jr. We have Manny Machado, right? Matt Carpenter was like Babe Ruth at Yankee Stadium. So we'll see how much that translates. Hopefully they add another bat that will provide some power as well. You don't trade Jake Cronenworth. And the Padres are not looking to do that because why would you do that? You know that Brian Windhorst meme or video that went around, or that's probably still going around a little bit, when he was on ESPN on First Take, and he was like, "Why would they do that? Why would the Jazz trade this guy? I forget who it was. Trade this guy to the Nets when KD's in these trade talks. Like, why would they do that? What's going on in Utah?" And then they end up trading Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and so they were just blowing it apart. That's what was happening. Why would the Padres do that? They wouldn't. Okay, so those are the main topics that I wanted to get into. I mean, we can get into starting pitching a little bit. Nathan Eovaldi went to the Rangers the other day, so Kluber went to the Red Sox. I don't believe I've done a live show since those signings. So what does that mean for the Padres? It's less free agent starting pitching options. I'd prefer them to go the starting pitching route because if it is a trade, they will have to give up someone on the major league roster. It's probably Kim or Grisham. That's what it seems like it would be. That's what we're hearing, right? Or that's what we're reading from the Dennis Lins of the world. I'd rather just add to the roster. Peter Seidler's willing to spend money. They've shown interest in Johnny Cueto. Dennis Lind also reported earlier today in The Athletic that Cueto is more likely than Waka. But if he's saying Cueto is more likely than someone, then the Padres do have interest in bringing that person in. And there have been reports that the Padres are interested in Cueto. This was before, I think, Eovaldi and Kluber signed. So if they get Cueto, okay, then there you go. There's a starting pitcher. You don't have to trade Grisham. You don't have to trade Ha-Seong Kim. And just add to this team. Go bring in a left fielder, whether that's Profar or Peralta. Someone that's valuable, someone that you could stick there and play every day if Tatis gets hurt. That's how you have to look at this. Don't be bringing in a guy that, oh, he has high upside. Let's see what he can do here. No, you want someone that's healthy, someone that can play every day. Because Tatis is not a guarantee to be healthy the whole year and play the outfield every day. He's not going to, in fact. He's not playing the outfield every day when he comes back. So you got to have someone that can post every day like Cronenworth and Manny can. Profar can do that. He fits that. But I'm not giving him 5 years. So is David Peralta the next guy you go there? Or do you go trade route? I know Kepler's probably available with the Twins. Like it's going to be interesting to see what the Padres do the rest of this offseason. Obviously, I don't want to say it's far from over because I don't think it is far from over in terms of their moves. They only have a couple moves that they probably want to make, which is getting another outfield bat and getting another starting pitcher. So So I don't think that their offseason is far from over, uh, but there is still, a couple moves to make, right? All right, it looks like in the chat here, people are still talking about Trevor Bauer. It's not happening. I know the case was dropped, but it's not happening. He's not coming to the Padres. That would be a bad look on the franchise. They already have elite starting pitchers in the rotation. You don't need Trevor Bauer in that clubhouse. Do you think Manny's going to want Bauer in the clubhouse? No. You think Musgrove and Cronenworth want Bauer in the clubhouse? No. You think Bob Melvin wants another headache in the clubhouse? I shouldn't say another. But do you think that Bob Melvin wants that distraction in the clubhouse? No, he doesn't. Irie says you guys are BSing yourself if you think AJ's not going to be in on that Reynolds deal. They say Yankees are most likely to get him. AJ has been hunting him for years. Yeah, you can want something, right? I'm sure everyone watching or listening to this has been wanting something for a long time. That doesn't mean that you're going to go get it. That doesn't mean that you do have it right now, right? You're still looking for it. AJ was hunting Juan Soto for a long time. He was hunting Josh Hader for a long time. He eventually got it, but I'm sure he's been hunting a ton of guys that we don't know about that he hasn't gotten or will never get, but he's still going to hunt for them. So, of course, AJ should be in on the Brian Reynolds deal and be checking in frequently and seeing if the price drops. But if the price is going to remain the same and you're going to have to give up Jackson Merrill for Brian Reynolds, I don't know if AJ wants to do that. Like, at some point, he probably thinks, I should probably hang on to one of these guys, these top prospects. This isn't Juan Soto who I'm trading for here. I know Reynolds he's a good player, but it's not Juan Soto. Trent Grisham, he's an elite defensive center fielder. I could just go sign someone in free agency to play left. We have Tatis coming back. Is it worth it to give up this top guy when I could use him as a trade piece later for someone like Corbin Burns, who I think would fit this roster better? I don't want to say better, but it would fill a need more. Or like Brandon Woodruff as well, or years down the line. Who knows? Maybe Ha-Seong Kim leaves. He's a free agent after, is it this year? I think it may be after 2024. Yeah, after 2024, because he signed a 4-year deal. I think 28 mil going into 2021. So what if Kim leaves in a couple years and you have Cronenworth playing first base still? Let's say you extend Cronenworth. Okay, who's going to play second? Merrill will probably fit there. Years down the road, Bogarts is going to change positions, right? What if Tatis in the outfield, what if that thing is working? Maybe do you want Merrill to come up and play shortstop? Or do you want him to move to center if the Tatis thing isn't working and you're having Tatis go back to short and Kim is off the team and Bogarts is playing first or second? Like, it might be better for the Padres to hold on to Jackson Merrill for now. Again, this isn't Juan Soto that they're trading for. And I like the Padres lineup as is if they add another bat. So maybe not as is, but I like the players that are in the lineup right now, the positions that are filled. If Brian Reynolds was a free agent, yeah, sure, go ahead. But as a trade, no thanks. Not at the price that the Pirates are demanding or asking for. Irie says, I would not trade Jake unless it was for someone deadly straight up and you ain't getting no package with him. Well, yeah. And even if it's straight up, like, well, I don't think the Brewers would trade Burns for Cronenworth straight up, to be honest. And even if it was straight up, what's the Padres' plan after Cronenworth? If they go get a controllable starting pitcher, but you're trading Cronenworth straight up, you better go get a player that's better than Jake Cronenworth to go fill that void. Like, that would be a big void. Someone be filling some big shoes that Jake Cronenworth is wearing right now. Just going through the chat here still. There's a lot of people in here, so I appreciate you guys being here. Great way to support the channel is using that super chat button. More Bauer talk here, huh? Okay. Chasing the Horizon says, "Why are we making assumptions about Bauer before the allegations he was solid? People only have a bad taste in their mouth because a couple girls wanted money and didn't like him." I mean, the guy was suspended for 194 games, right? Or whatever it was. He was originally suspended for over 300 games. So he did do something. This isn't just a couple people wanting their name in the spotlight. Okay? And why are we're not making assumptions? Like, he did do it. At least from what I know, like, it's been documented, right? And I don't want to get too far into that because, to be honest, I haven't followed the Bauer thing too closely because he's not even been a thought for me because the guy was suspended. And the Padres are never going to sign this guy, especially right off of a suspension. They wouldn't do that. It doesn't make sense for them to do that. So I haven't been following it maybe as closely as this person who commented here has. And I'm not making assumptions about him. Like, it's been reported. He's been reported. Major League Baseball suspended this guy. The longest, like, sexual assault uh, suspension, I think, in Major League Baseball history. So it's not like he wasn't suspended and we're assuming that he did something. Like, Major League Baseball had a reason to do this. Okay, that looks like it's the end of the chat. All right, so that'll be it. Episode 311, Talking Friars. We hit on Kim, hit on Grisham, rotation, a little bit of Bauer. Padres not looking to trade Jake Cronenworth. Why would they? Thank you so much for tuning in here. Have a good one, everybody. Go Padres, and see ya.